The Harris family has always been a staple of reality TV royalty, but the latest headlines surrounding T.I. and his stepdaughter, Zonnique Pullins, have taken a turn that no one saw coming. We've watched this family navigate ups and downs for over a decade, but the air has turned thick with tension following a shocking public ultimatum. The legendary Atlanta rapper and mogul, Tip T.I. Harris, is reportedly demanding a DNA test from Zonnique, not for her, but for her child. The internet was set ablaze when reports surfaced that T.I. is allegedly questioning the lineage of Zonnique's baby, demanding proof before continuing his role as the doting grandfather the public has grown to love. This isn't just another minor family squabble caught on camera. This is a deep-seated confrontation that touches on trust, legacy, and the boundaries of a blended family. For years, Zonnique has been the first daughter of the Grand Hustle empire, with T.I. raising her as his own alongside Tiny. However, whispered rumors from within the inner circle suggest that recent private disagreements have spilled over into the public eye, leading to this heartbreaking demand for a paternity test. Is this a strategic move for a new reality TV plotline? Or is there a genuine rift tearing the Harris household apart? Fans are divided, with many calling T.I.'s alleged demands disrespectful to Tiny and Zonnique's bond, while others wonder if there is hidden information that forced his hand. As the King of the South stands his ground, Zonnique is left navigating the fallout of a public challenge to her integrity as a mother. We are diving deep into the origins of this beef, the secret conversations happening behind closed doors, and why T.I. feels that a legal document is the only way to settle the score. This is the breakdown of the DNA drama that has the entire industry talking. The relationship between T.I. and Zonnique Pullins has always been viewed through the lens of a modern family success story. Since Zonnique was a young girl, Tip T.I. Harris stepped into the role of her father with a level of intensity and protection that often bordered on the extreme. We saw this play out for years on The Family Hustle, where Tip was the ultimate patriarch, ruling his household with a complex vocabulary and a set of rigid rules designed to protect the Harris brand. However, as Zonnique transitioned from a teenager in a girl group to a grown woman and a mother, the dynamic shifted. What was once protective guidance has reportedly curdled into a high-stakes demand for genetic verification. The bombshell dropped when reports surfaced that T.I. wasn't just offering grandfatherly advice anymore. He was demanding a DNA test to prove the lineage of Zonnique's child before he would continue to invest his emotional and financial resources into the baby's future. To understand why this is such a massive betrayal, one has to look at the history. T.I. has always claimed Zonnique as his own daughter, regardless of biological ties. He raised her alongside his biological children, King, Major, and Heiress, making no public distinction between them. But the arrival of Zonnique's daughter seems to have triggered a deep-seated insecurity or a shift in T.I.'s logical approach to family legacy. Sources close to the Grand Hustle camp suggest that Tip's demand for a DNA test isn't necessarily because he doubts Zonnique's fidelity to her partner, but because he is obsessed with the purity of the Harris legal and financial estate. In his mind, he is a king building an empire, and every heir to that empire must have a documented, indisputable claim. However, applying this cold, corporate logic to a toddler has sent shockwaves through the family. The tension allegedly reached a breaking point during a private family meeting at their Atlanta estate. What started as a discussion about the baby's upbringing quickly devolved into a heated debate about accountability and verification. T.I., known for his long-winded oratory style, reportedly laid down an ultimatum. If the child was to be treated as a full member of the Harris dynasty, complete with the trust funds and the social standing that comes with it, there could be no room for ambiguity. He allegedly told Zonnique that proof is the requirement for participation. For Zonnique, this was a slap in the face. She has spent her entire life being loyal to the Harris name, often defending T.I. during his own numerous public controversies. To have him turn around and question her child was perceived as the ultimate act of disrespect. The public reaction to these reports has been a mix of horror and morbid curiosity. Social media platforms like X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram have become digital battlegrounds. One side argues that T.I. is simply being a shrewd businessman and a responsible patriarch. They claim that in a world where celebrities are frequently targeted for their wealth, T.I. is right to demand paperwork for anyone entering his inner circle. They point to the complicated nature of blended families and suggest that Tip is just doing his due diligence. However, the overwhelming majority of fans are disgusted. They argue that T.I. is overstepping his boundaries as a stepfather. Zonnique's biological father is Rocco, another well-known figure in the Atlanta music scene. By demanding a DNA test, T.I. is not only insulting Zonnique, but also indirectly challenging the integrity of her mother, Tamika "Tiny" Harris. Tiny has always been the glue that holds the Harris family together. She has stood by T.I. through prison sentences, cheating scandals, and legal battles. For Tip to now target Tiny's firstborn child is seen as a bridge too far. Reports indicate that Tiny is caught in a heartbreaking middle ground. On one hand, she wants to keep the peace in her marriage. On the other, she is fiercely protective of Zonnique. The DNA demand has created a visible rift, with Tiny reportedly taking Zonnique's side in private, leading to icy silences within the household. The irony isn't lost on the public. T.I. demands truth and proof from his daughter. Yet his own history is filled with moments where he asked for grace and unconditional support from his family. Behind the scenes, the drama is even more layered. Industry insiders suggest that T.I.'s sudden demand might be fueled by a third party, perhaps a disgruntled associate or a leaked rumor that planted a seed of doubt in his mind. Tip has always been a man who prides himself on being 5 steps ahead of everyone else. If he heard even a whisper that the child's parentage was being questioned in the streets of Atlanta, his ego wouldn't allow him to let it slide. He would rather blow up his relationship with his daughter than be seen as a fool who was misled. This ego-first approach is exactly what has led to the current stalemate. Zonnique is refusing to budge, viewing the demand as a test of her character that she shouldn't have to take. The psychological impact on Zonnique cannot be understated. Growing up in the shadow of a man like T.I. is difficult enough. You are constantly measured against his standards of hustle and reputation. Zonnique has worked hard to carve out her own identity, moving away from the OMG girl's image into a more mature, independent artist. To be pulled back into a paternity drama by the man she calls Pops is a regression she didn't ask for. It sends a message that no matter how much she does right, she is still subject to his whims and his investigations. As we look at the state of the Harris family today, the king of the South seems to be standing on an island of his own making. He is sticking to his guns, insisting that the truth shouldn't be feared if the truth is on your side. It's a classic T.I. line, philosophical yet cold. But while he waits for proof, he is losing something much more valuable: the trust of the daughter he spent 20 years raising. The atmosphere is thick with resentment, and the family hustle has turned into a family feud that might not have a happy ending. The stage is now set for a massive confrontation. Zonnique has the support of her mother and her biological father's side of the family, while T.I. remains entrenched in his demand for biological certainty. The question now is, what happens when the results, or the lack thereof, are finally revealed? If Zonnique gives in, she loses her dignity. If she refuses, she risks being exiled from the family empire. This isn't just about a DNA test anymore. It's about the power struggle between a controlling patriarch and a daughter who is finally ready to say enough. As the shockwaves of T.I.'s demand for a DNA test continue to ripple through the entertainment world, the focus has shifted from the king of the South himself to the woman caught in the crossfire, Tamika "Tiny" Harris. For over 2 decades, Tiny has been the silent architect of the Harris family's public image, balancing T.I.'s often polarizing persona with her own grounded, maternal influence. However, this latest development has placed her in an impossible position. Zonnique is her firstborn, the child of her youth, and the one person Tiny has spent her entire life shielding from the harsh glare of the industry. Reports from those close to the family suggest that the atmosphere inside their Atlanta mansion has turned radioactive, as Tiny finds herself forced to choose between the husband she has stood by through thick and thin and the daughter whose integrity is being publicly dismantled. The betrayal felt by Tiny is layered. When T.I. entered her life, he didn't just marry a superstar from Xscape. He inherited a daughter. He was there for the school plays, the graduations, and the early career struggles of the OMG girls. By all accounts, Tip was the only father figure Zonnique truly leaned on during her formative years. For him to now turn around and demand scientific proof of her child's lineage is seen by Tiny as a direct indictment of her own history and the family they built together. Insiders claim that Tiny initially tried to laugh off the demand as one of T.I.'s philosophical rants. But when she realized he was dead serious about withholding family resources and recognition without a lab report, the Queen of the South reportedly went on the offensive. The digital trail of this family rift is becoming harder to ignore. Fans have noted a significant shift in Tiny's social media activity. The usual celebratory posts featuring T.I. have been replaced by solo shots and heartfelt tributes to Zonnique and her baby. The silence between the couple on public platforms is deafening. In the world of celebrity news, what you don't post is often more telling than what you do. This Cold War within the Harris household is a stark contrast to the united front they presented during T.I.'s past legal battles. It seems that while Tiny could forgive infidelity and legal troubles, she cannot stomach a direct attack on the sanctity of her daughter's motherhood. But why now? Why would a man who has always preached about family first suddenly risk it all over a DNA test? Some industry analysts believe T.I. is suffering from a legacy obsession. As he gets older and his career moves into a more executive and mentorship-heavy phase, he is becoming hyperfixated on who carries the Harris name and who benefits from the vast wealth he has accumulated. To T.I., the Harris name isn't just a surname. It's a brand, a corporation, and a kingdom. In his mind, every claimant to the throne must be verified. This godfather complex has led him to treat his family more like a boardroom than a living room. He allegedly told associates that he cannot afford to be a fool for the sake of feelings, implying that biological certainty is the only currency he trusts. This cold, calculated approach has alienated not just Zonnique, but the younger generation of the Harris clan as well. King Harris, who has had his own very public and very loud disagreements with his father, has reportedly sided firmly with his sister. The younger Harrises are part of a generation that values emotional authenticity over rigid patriarchal structures. They see T.I.'s demand as an outdated power play, a way for him to maintain control over Zonnique even now that she is a grown woman with her own life. The family hustle is no longer a TV show. It's a battle for autonomy. Zonnique has reportedly told friends that she feels like a pawn in Tip's game of reputation management, and she is refusing to play. The involvement of Zonnique's biological father, Rocco, adds another combustible element to the mix. While Rocco has remained relatively quiet in the press, sources within the Atlanta rap scene say he is fuming. To Rocco's camp, T.I.'s demand is an overreach of the highest order. It's one thing to raise a child as your own, but it's another to use that position to cast doubt on her child's paternity in a way that creates a media circus. If Rocco decides to break his silence, the situation could escalate from a domestic dispute into a full-blown war between two of Atlanta's most influential figures. T.I. may have thought he was just verifying facts, but he has inadvertently invited a ghost from the past back into the center of his family's narrative. As the drama intensifies, the public is left wondering if there is a secret reason behind the demand. Is there a piece of information T.I. possesses that the rest of us don't? Some theorists suggest that a disgruntled former associate of the family may have planted a seed of doubt in T.I.'s ear, or perhaps a leaked conversation from a rival camp made him paranoid. T.I. has always been a man who values intel above all else, and if he feels his intel is compromised, he strikes first. However, in this case, the enemy he is striking is his own flesh and blood, or at least the person he has treated as such for 20 years. The psychological toll on Zonnique is evident in her recent public appearances. Known for her calm and composed demeanor, she now carries the weight of a woman who has been betrayed by her protector. She has built her own career, her own following, and her own brand, yet she is still being dragged back into the Harris drama by a man who seems unable to let her go. Her refusal to take the test is being hailed by some as a heroic stand for privacy and self-respect, while others, mostly T.I.'s hardcore Logic fans, see it as a sign of guilt. This divide is exactly what T.I.'s demand created. A situation where Zonnique is guilty until proven innocent by a lab technician. The stalemate continues. T.I. remains perched on his throne of principles, refusing to back down until the paperwork is on his desk. Tiny remains in the middle, trying to prevent her family from fracturing beyond repair. And Zonnique is standing her ground, proving that you can't demand loyalty while showing none. The king of the South may have the power and the platform, but he is quickly realizing that you cannot control the heart with a DNA kit. As we move into the final chapter of this saga, the question isn't just about the results of a test. It's about whether the Harris family can ever truly be the same again. The damage is done, the lines are drawn, and the proof T.I. is looking for might end up costing him everything he spent a lifetime building. The standoff between T.I. and Zonnique has reached a point of no return, moving beyond a simple family dispute and into a cautionary tale about the price of power and the fragility of trust. As the headlines continue to swirl, the king of the South finds himself in a position he never anticipated, holding on to his principles while losing his grip on his family. The demand for a DNA test was meant to be a final word, a way for T.I. to exert his authority and ensure the purity of his legacy. Instead, it has become a catalyst for a rebellion within the Harris household that threatens to dismantle everything they built during their years on reality television. The question on everyone's mind isn't just whether the test will happen, but what happens to a family when the patriarch decides that science is more important than 20 years of shared history. For Zonnique, the path forward has become one of radical independence. Sources close to the singer suggest she has moved toward decoupling her brand from the grand hustle umbrella. For years, she was the loyal daughter, the one who stayed out of trouble and played her part in the family business. But this public ultimatum was the breaking point. Reports indicate that Zonnique is no longer seeking T.I.'s approval for her career moves or her parenting choices. She has reportedly told Confidence that a father's love shouldn't come with a terms and conditions agreement. By refusing the test, she isn't just protecting her child's privacy. She is reclaiming her own dignity. This shift has sent a clear message to T.I. The first daughter of the empire is no longer following orders. The impact on T.I.'s own reputation has been equally significant. For a man who built his career on the concepts of respect, loyalty, and hustle, his actions in this saga have struck many as contradictory. The hip-hop community, which usually prizes the family man image T.I. cultivated, is now viewing him through a different lens. Critics argue that his obsession with proof reveals a deep-seated insecurity, a fear that he is losing control over the narrative of his own life. In the streets of Atlanta, the conversation has turned from his musical contributions to his domestic management. The king is increasingly seen as a ruler who has become too paranoid to trust his own circle, leading to a palace revolt that includes his wife and his children. Tiny's role in the final act of this drama is perhaps the most tragic. She has spent decades being the bridge between T.I.'s intensity and the outside world. But as the rift between Tip and Zonnique widens, that bridge is collapsing. Tiny has reportedly sought counseling for the family, hoping to find a middle ground where T.I. can feel secure and Zonnique can feel respected. However, with T.I. doubling down on his logic over emotion stance, the mediation has reached a stalemate. The queen is now faced with a heartbreaking reality. The man she loves is systematically alienating the child she cherishes. This tension has reportedly led to a living apart situation within the mansion, where the two stars share a roof but no longer share a vision for their future. As the industry looks at the Harris legacy, the lessons are becoming clear. You cannot buy or legislate the kind of loyalty that comes from unconditional support. T.I. may have the millions, the catalogs, and the real estate, but without the trust of his heirs, those assets feel hollow. The younger generation of Harrises, King, Domani, and the rest are watching this play out in real time. They see the DNA demand as a warning sign. If Zonnique, the golden child, can be subjected to this kind of public scrutiny, none of them are safe from Tip's investigations. This has led to a noticeable distancing, with the siblings forming a tighter bond among themselves, often excluding T.I. from their private gatherings and digital lives. There is also the matter of the public record. In the age of the internet, this DNA drama will live forever. One day, Zonnique's daughter will grow up and see the articles, the videos, and the podcasts debating her existence. This is perhaps the greatest failure of T.I.'s strategy. In his quest to protect the brand, he has permanently stained the child's digital footprint with a cloud of doubt. He has traded a private resolution for a public spectacle, and the cost of that trade is the child's peace of mind. Even if a test were to be performed today and prove his grandfatherhood, the ink is already dry on the disrespect shown to Zonnique. You cannot unring the bell of public doubt. As we wrap up this investigative look into the Harris family feud, the future remains uncertain. There are whispers that T.I. may eventually issue a public apology, framed as a misunderstanding or a protective measure gone wrong, in an attempt to save face and reunite the family for a potential new media project. But for Zonnique and Tiny, an apology might not be enough. The damage to the family hustle brand is extensive. They were once the blueprint for a blended family that worked. Now, they are a cautionary tale of what happens when a patriarch's ego outgrows his empathy. Ultimately, the king of the South is learning a hard lesson in the difference between being a boss and being a father. A boss demands proof. A father provides peace. A boss manages an estate. A father nurtures a soul. As T.I. sits in his studio, surrounded by the trophies of his successful career, the silence from the people who matter most is the loudest sound in the room. Whether Zonnique ever provides the proof he asked for is almost irrelevant now. The real test wasn't the DNA, it was the strength of the bond they shared. And in that test, it seems the results are already in. The Harris Empire is at a crossroads, and the king must decide if his crown is worth more than his family. This family drama is reaching a point of no return. But we want to hear from you. Is T.I. right to protect his legacy and demand proof in a high-stakes world? Or has he completely crossed the line by disrespecting Zonnique and Tiny? Drop a comment below with your thoughts, we're reading all of them. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the biggest stories in music and celebrity culture. We'll see you in the next one.